Ask 10 financial experts whether debt is dangerous, and most will give you the same answer. Pay it off. Avoid it. Destroy it as quickly as possible. For decades, that advice has been repeated like a law of nature.
That idea sounds dangerous at first. After all, debt has caused stress, financial mistakes, and hardship for millions of people. So how could anyone possibly claim that debt can be useful? The answer begins with understanding one simple fact. Not all debt is the same.
Most people see debt and immediately think risk. Investors often see something completely different. They see leverage, a tool that allows them to control assets much larger than the cash they currently have. And that difference in thinking leads to completely different financial outcomes. Look at what's happening here. Money goes out, value goes down, yet the debt remains. This is how millions of people accidentally trap themselves financially. They're making payments every month on things that become worth less and less over time.
Credit cards, car loans, mortgages, student loans, business loans. Most people throw them all into the same category. But that's a mistake, because each one behaves differently and produces completely different financial results. Some debt removes money from your pocket every single month. Other debt has the potential to put money into your pocket every single month. One drains wealth. The other can help create wealth. And understanding that distinction changes everything.
Here's the formula wealthy investors follow. Debt buys the asset creates returns. And when the return is greater than the cost, wealth grows.
When returns become greater than the cost of borrowing, something powerful happens. Debt stops acting like a burden. It becomes an engine that can accelerate wealth and create financial momentum. But does this actually work in the real world? Let's look at two people who started with exactly the same opportunity.
Meet David and Claire. Same age, similar income, similar goals, and the exact same starting point. But one financial decision will change everything. At age 35, both have $50,000. Neither has an advantage. Neither is richer. The game is completely tied. What happens next is what matters. David chooses certainty. He pays off debt. He clears his balances. And for the first time in years, he feels financially free. Claire chooses a different path. Instead of eliminating debt, she uses her money to acquire an income-producing asset, a decision that many people would consider risky. Years begin to pass. David continues saving and investing. His wealth grows steadily, slowly, predictably. But Claire now has leverage working for her. The property grows in value, rental income comes in, and the asset keeps working around the clock. At first, the difference is barely noticeable. Then, time takes over, and a small gap slowly becomes a very large one. But the story doesn't end there, because not every asset is automatically a good investment, and not every degree, property, or business creates the same result. Take real estate, for example. Many people assume every house is an asset, but an asset should put money into your pocket, not take money out. A high-interest credit card charging 24% interest is a completely different story. Paying that debt off can produce a guaranteed return that few investments can match. Now, compare that with a low-interest mortgage. If the borrowing cost is small and your investments are growing faster, aggressively paying off that mortgage may not always be the smartest move. This is where opportunity cost enters the picture. Every dollar sent in one direction is a dollar that cannot work somewhere else. And that's why some financial advice sounds safe while secretly being expensive. Not because it's wrong, but because it ignores what that money could have become. There is no perfect answer for everyone. The right decision depends on interest rates, investment opportunities, risk tolerance, and personal behavior. That's why understanding the difference between productive debt and consumptive debt is so important. One can create future income. The other often creates future bills. At the end of the day, the real comparison is simple. What is the debt costing you? And what could your money earn elsewhere? Before making any major financial decision, ask yourself a few questions. Is this debt helping me build something valuable, or is it simply helping me spend? For years, people have been taught to fear debt itself. But debt is not the enemy. The real danger is misunderstanding how debt works. Because the same tool that can trap one person in financial struggle can help another person build lasting wealth. The difference is knowledge. Today, debt looks different than it did a generation ago. It's hidden inside subscriptions, buy now, pay later plans, monthly payments, and tiny financial decisions that seem harmless on their own. But over time, those small leaks can drain enormous amounts of wealth. After all, debt itself is neither good nor bad. It has no emotion, no intention, no morality. Debt is simply a tool. And like every tool, its power depends entirely on the person using it. So before making your next financial decision, ask yourself one simple question. Is this debt helping me build an asset, or is it helping me buy a liability? Because that single question can completely change your future. The people who become wealthy aren't always the people who avoid debt. Often, they're the people who understand it, who learn when to use it, when to avoid it, and when to turn it into an opportunity. So the next time someone tells you that all debt is bad, ask one more question. What is that debt actually buying? Because debt is not the enemy. Misunderstanding debt is. And that understanding could be worth far more than money itself.